At the beginning of the episode, we see a group of students who have just graduated. They are enjoying a graduation trip by the beach. Among them is our main female lead, Si-han, who is extremely excited today because she has finally decided to confess her feelings to her longtime crush, Lee Min. Just as Si-han is about to approach him, another girl suddenly walks over and confesses to Lee Min first. Even worse, Lee Min immediately accepts her confession. Seeing this, Si-han is completely heartbroken. To hide her sadness, she drinks far too much alcohol. Later, she walks alone to the beach where she notices a handsome young man standing by himself. Since she's drunk, she mistakes him for Lee Min. Without thinking twice, she walks up to him, hands him her love letter, and confesses. This handsome stranger is actually our main hero, Chan Neo. Chan Neo politely tells her that she has probably mistaken him for someone else. But Si-han is too drunk to listen. Before he can stop her, she suddenly kisses him. Then the story skips forward 1 year. Now we see that Si-han has become a food blogger. Recently, a cake called Miss Moon has become incredibly famous. So today she's planning to interview the baker who created it. Then we see Chan Neo again. He now owns a successful bakery shop, and the famous Miss Moon cake was actually created by him. At that moment, Si-han arrives at his bakery for the interview. The moment Chan Neo sees Si-han after an entire year, he freezes in surprise and can't take his eyes off her. However, Si-han doesn't recognize him at all. Seeing her again makes Chan Neo so distracted that he even starts making mistakes while working. Meanwhile, Si-han tastes the famous cake and prepares to record her review. Chan Neo quietly watches her the entire time. Si-han tells him that she came to review the Miss Moon cake. The moment Chan Neo realizes that she has completely forgotten him, he becomes disappointed. Instead of agreeing to the interview, Chan Neo coldly tells her that she should first learn who he really is before asking him any questions. His rude attitude annoys Si-han, so she immediately gives his bakery a 0-star review. Time passes, yet Si-han continues sitting inside the bakery working on her laptop. Surprisingly, Chan Neo never asks her to leave. When the bakery staff notice this, they begin whispering among themselves. They wonder why their boss still hasn't closed the shop because he has never worked overtime before. Chan Neo simply tells them that they still have a guest. If they want to stay, they can stay. Otherwise, they are free to leave. A little later, Chan Neo walks over to Si-han and tells her it's already late, so she should go home. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Si-han once again asks for an interview. Chan Neo asks whether she has learned anything about him. Si-han honestly replies that she hasn't. So Chan Neo refuses once again and tells her to go home because he has no intention of giving her an interview. Furious, Si-han leaves the bakery. After she leaves, Chan Neo quietly wonders to himself whether she has really forgotten him. Then we see a flashback. A year ago, after Si-han got drunk, Chan Neo brought her to a hotel room so she could rest safely. While she was asleep, he read the love letter she had given him. Before leaving, he gently removed the necklace from around his own neck and placed it on Si-han. Then he took her rose and quietly left. Back in the present, we see that Chan Neo has carefully kept that same rose for an entire year. On the other hand, Si-han talks with her younger sister. Her sister asks why she quit her regular job to become a food blogger. She warns that if their parents ever find out, they'll be extremely angry. Si-han asks her sister to keep it a secret. After that, her sister introduces Si-han to her little son, and Si-han happily spends some time talking with her adorable nephew. The next day, Si-han secretly follows Chan Neo everywhere because she wants to learn more about him. When Chan Neo notices this, he directly asks whether she truly doesn't recognize him. Si-han confidently swears that she has never met him before. She explains that she only wants to know what special ingredient he puts into the Miss Moon cake that makes everyone love it so much. Meanwhile, Si-han secretly hides the review paper where she had given his bakery 0 stars. However, Chan Neo quickly snatches it back from her. After reading it, he realizes that she actually came to interview him instead of the cake itself. He sarcastically tells her to look around the market because everyone else has given him 5-star reviews, yet she is the only person who gave him 0 stars. Once again, he refuses the interview and tells her to leave. But after Si-han walks away, Chan Neo can't help smiling as he watches her leave. Later, Si-han searches online to find out who this rude baker really is. That's when she discovers that Chan Neo is actually the younger brother of her boss, Moo. Thinking this is the perfect opportunity, Si-han asks Moo for help because interviewing Chan Neo would greatly benefit their business. Moo agrees and promises to arrange an interview. Soon afterward, Sihan returns to the bakery. When the staff see her again, they begin joking that another girl has come to flirt with their handsome boss. Some bet she'll last 5 days, while others think she'll give up in only 2. Hearing them gossip, Chan Neo immediately tells everyone to get back to work. Sihan confidently shows him her company ID and reminds him that his sister is her boss. She proudly says that she has millions of followers, so an interview with her would also benefit his bakery. Without saying a word, Chan Neo simply opens her social media account and shows her that she doesn't even have 100,000 followers yet. Embarrassed, Sihan laughs and says that maybe she doesn't have them today, but one day she definitely will. Then she sincerely asks him once again to accept the interview. After she keeps insisting, Chan Neo finally agrees. During the interview, he reveals that 1 year ago, when his life had almost fallen apart, a girl accidentally confessed her love to him. From that very day onward, he decided to start his life all over again. When Sihan uploads this touching love story online, it quickly goes viral. Everyone becomes curious to know what happened next. Ironically, even after hearing the entire story herself, Sihan still doesn't realize that the mysterious girl in Chan Neo's story is actually her. The following day, Sihan, Moo, and one of Chan Neo's friends ask him to continue telling the story. Chan Neo simply says that nothing happened after that. Then Sihan suggests that they revisit the place where everything happened and upload photos online because it would attract even more attention. Moo immediately orders Chan Neo to help her. She even threatens to beat him up if he refuses. Left with no choice, Chan Neo agrees, but he warns Sihan not to upload anything without asking him first. Hearing that, Sihan becomes extremely excited. Soon, the two of them travel back to the same seaside location. Unfortunately, every hotel room is fully booked, so Sihan can't find a room. Because of that, Chan Neo kindly lets her stay in his room. While saving Sihan's phone number into his phone, Chan Neo quietly watches her as she drinks a bottle of water. Then we see another flashback. A year ago, Sihan had drunk water in exactly the same adorable way, and Chan Neo had been staring at her just like he is now. Later, the two of them walk together along the beach. Chan Neo suddenly hands Sihan a single rose and tells her to smell it. The moment Sihan smells the flower, all the memories from 1 year ago suddenly come rushing back. She finally remembers everything. Embarrassed, Sihan immediately blushes and hurriedly runs back toward the hotel. Seeing her reaction, Chan Neo smiles and calls after her, "So, miss, it looks like you finally remembered everything. I thought you really wanted to know how my love story ended." After hearing that, Chan Neo asks with a smile, "So, what happened next? Aren't you curious about the rest of my love story?" Embarrassed, Sihan immediately stops him from saying anything else. As she quickly tries to walk away from him, she accidentally loses her balance. Before she can fall, Chan Neo catches her in his arms. They stay like that for a few seconds, staring into each other's eyes before Sihan shyly leaves. Meanwhile, Chan Neo remains standing there like a statue, unable to move. Back in her hotel room, Sihan begins thinking to herself, "Did Chan Neo really create that cake because of me? No, that's impossible. He clearly hates me." Just then, thunder suddenly roars outside and a heavy storm begins. Sihan suddenly becomes worried. She remembers that Chan Neo gave her his hotel room, so she wonders whether he'll spend the entire night outside. Thinking something bad might happen to him in such terrible weather, she becomes anxious. On the other hand, Chan Neo's car suddenly runs out of gas on the way back. He immediately calls Sihan and tells her that he's stranded in the middle of the road because his car has no fuel left. Before he can explain anything else, his phone battery dies. After hearing that, Sihan quickly grabs an umbrella and rushes outside to look for him. Meanwhile, Chan Neo hears Sihan calling his name, so he pretends to be asleep inside the car. Sihan opens the car door and wakes him up. She tells him that the weather is far too dangerous and asks him to return to the hotel with her. However, she soon realizes that her own phone has also run out of battery, and the road back to the hotel is completely dark. Because of that, Chan Neo suggests that they simply spend the night inside the car. He reassures her by saying, "Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. I'm not that kind of person." Hearing this, Sihan apologizes for what happened a year ago. She explains that she mistakenly thought he was her classmate when she kissed him because she was completely drunk. She promises that she'll never make the same mistake again. Then she asks whether he was the one who gave her that necklace. Chan Neo quietly nods. Not wanting her to keep asking questions, he jokingly tells her that she talks way too much and should go to sleep. After Sihan falls asleep, Chan Neo gently takes off his coat and carefully places places it over her so she won't feel cold. The next morning, Sihan wakes up but can't find Chan Neo anywhere. She immediately becomes worried and wonders where he went without telling her. A moment later, Chan Neo returns after filling the car with gas. Seeing him safe and sound, Sihan can't help smiling. When they return, the hotel owner scolds both of them for leaving the hotel so late at night. He then serves Sihan some food and tells her that her boyfriend still hasn't eaten because he was waiting for her. Embarrassed, Sihan quickly explains that Chan Neo isn't her boyfriend. After the owner leaves, Sihan asks Chan Neo if he opened the bakery because of her. Chan Neo replies that he wasn't doing it entirely because of her. She simply inspired him to start over. He also asks her not to tell anyone about their conversation. After returning home, Sihan looks at the necklace Chan Neo gave her. Then she suddenly gets an idea. She decides to give Chan Neo's love story a happy ending herself. So she writes that several years later, the girl finally returned to the boy's life, and the two of them eventually started living together happily. Later, Mu excitedly tells Sihan that Chan Neo probably still hasn't seen how romantically she rewrote his love story. She also reveals that because of Sihan's post, their company has received a brand new project. Now Sihan only needs to review it and she'll earn a good amount of money. In the next scene, both Chan Neo and Sihan receive a phone call asking them to come to the airport. When they arrive there, they meet Rui, who is Sihan's nephew. Rui happily calls Sihan aunt, while he calls Chan Neo godfather. At that moment, Chan Neo realizes that Sihan is Rui's aunt, while Sihan discovers that Chan Neo is actually Rui's father's best friend. Confused, Sihan immediately calls her sister to ask why Rui suddenly came here. Before she can finish speaking, Rui tells her that his parents are getting divorced, so from now on he'll be living with them. Sihan immediately says that Rui can stay with her. However, Rui points out that he's a boy while she's a girl, so living together wouldn't be appropriate. Instead, he cheerfully suggests that all three of them should simply live together at Chan Neo's house. Hearing this, Sihan immediately refuses. She says she'll visit Rui often instead. Later, Sihan asks her sister why she didn't send Rui to stay with her. Her sister explains that everything was actually Rui's father's decision. She also says that maybe it's for the best because Sihan doesn't even have a stable job yet and already struggles to pay rent. Taking care of Rui would only increase her burden. Still, she tells Sihan to visit Rui whenever she has time. Meanwhile, Chan Neo brings Rui to the bakery. Everyone there is delighted to see the adorable little boy. However, the moment Chan Neo asks who wants to babysit Rui, every employee quietly disappears. As a result, Chan Neo has no choice but to look after Rui himself. A little later, Rui calls Sihan and tells her that he misses her. After hearing that, Sihan happily agrees to come see him. As soon as the call ends, Rui proudly tells Chan Neo, "Godfather, mission complete!" It turns out this entire situation was actually Chan Neo's plan to spend more time with Sihan. Chan Neo then asks Rui what kind of food his aunt likes. Rui innocently replies that she eats instant noodles almost every day because she's poor. He explains that his mother told him Sihan spends all of her money buying products just to review them. Then Rui curiously asks, "Godfather, do you like my aunt?" Embarrassed, Chan Neo immediately tells him to be quiet. Later, when Chan Neo becomes busy with work, Rui finally reveals his true personality. Until now, Chan Neo thought Rui was a calm and obedient child. Instead, Rui starts running around, making a huge mess everywhere, leaving Chan Neo completely exhausted. Then we are introduced to Chan Neo's close friend Yang, who works as a model. Yang secretly likes Mu, Chan Neo's older sister, and is willing to do almost anything for her. Today's photo shoot is also something he's doing just because Mu asked him to. After finishing the shoot, Yang proudly tells Mu that he did everything for her, so she should go out with him today. Mu casually replies, "Sure, bro. Let's go." Poor Yang wants to become her boyfriend, but Mu keeps treating him like a brother. Meanwhile, Sihan comes to visit Rui. When she arrives, she finds Rui happily playing with water, while Chan Neo is busy using his phone. Sihan immediately scolds Rui for making a mess. At the same time, she also scolds Chan Neo for not paying attention to the child. Instead of getting angry, Chan Neo simply smiles while listening to her. After that, the three of them head back to Chan Neo's house together. A little later, Yang also arrives there. The moment he sees Sihan inside Chan Neo's house, he's completely shocked. He says it's the very first time he's ever seen a woman at Chan Neo's home. Chan Neo calmly explains that Rui missed his aunt, so he had no other choice. Yang then says he'll also visit Rui from time to time. However, Rui immediately rejects him, saying that he only wants to meet his godfather and his aunt. Poor Yang gets rejected once again. After leaving the house, Yang immediately calls Mu and tells her to come over, because her brother has done something unbelievable. Meanwhile, both Chan Neo and Rui become hungry, so they ask Sihan to cook for them. The problem is that Sihan has absolutely no idea how to cook. Even so, to protect her pride, she confidently walks into the kitchen. Unfortunately, the food turns out so terrible that even Chan Neo refuses to eat it. Rui bravely takes a bite, but moments later his stomach starts hurting badly. Seeing this, Sihan blames herself, thinking Rui became sick because of her cooking. Fortunately, the doctor explains that Rui only has diarrhea and will recover soon. Then, a nurse mistakenly assumes that Chan Neo and Sihan are husband and wife. She tells them that if they don't see the child as a burden, they should take good care of him together. Hearing those words, Chan Neo's expression suddenly changes. It seems something similar happened to him in the past. Seeing his reaction, Sihan gently comforts him and tells him none of it is his fault. Later, Chan Neo asks Sihan whether she'd be willing to stay at his house and take care of Rui while he's working at the bakery. After thinking for a moment, Sihan finally agrees. Chan Neo explains that if they don't live together, Rui might start thinking he's becoming a burden. Just then, Rui suddenly calls out, "Mom!" Hearing that, Sihan agrees to stay at Chan Neo's house for Rui's sake. In the next scene, Rui and Chan Neo eagerly wait for Sihan to arrive. Rui teases Chan Neo, saying he's obviously waiting for his aunt. Chan Neo quickly denies it. A few moments later, Sihan finally arrives. Although Chan Neo is secretly overjoyed, he hides his excitement. After showing her around the house, Rui happily says, "Now my godfather and my aunt will finally live together." Embarrassed, Sihan says she's only staying because of Rui. Rui simply smiles and replies, "That's basically the same thing." Soon afterward, Chan Neo leaves for the bakery. Looking around, Sihan notices that everything in the house is decorated only in black and white. So she and Rui decide to redecorate the entire house with colorful decorations. Meanwhile, one of Chan Neo's employees tells him that a brand new bakery has opened nearby. However, Chan Neo doesn't seem concerned at all. On the other hand, Yang once again tries to impress Mu. He gives her a bouquet of flowers he found at the company. Mu immediately notices another person's card still attached to it. She jokingly asks whether he even checked the bouquet before stealing it. Poor Yang is left embarrassed once again. Even so, he gathers his courage and invites Mu out for dinner. Since Yang is now working with her company, Mu agrees. Later that evening, Yang tells Mu that Chan Neo has allowed Sihan to stay at his house because of Rui. He believes Chan Neo has finally fallen in love. Hearing this, Mu becomes genuinely happy because her younger brother has finally opened his heart. Without thinking twice, Yang suddenly proposes marriage. Mu smiles and tells him that if he weren't younger than her, she would have accepted long ago. Meanwhile, Chan Neo leaves work much earlier than usual. His employees are completely shocked because he's never gone home this early before. They quickly realize he's probably eager to see Rui and Sihan. Everyone starts hoping their boss will finally find love. When Chan Neo gets home, he sees that the entire house has been transformed. Surprised, he asks who did all this. Sihan points at Rui, while Rui points back at Sihan. Then Rui innocently says, "Godfather, you have to get used to colorful things. Otherwise, no one will ever marry you." Hearing that, Chan Neo looks at Sihan and gives her a small smile. He also brings home a cake specially made for her. As Sihan tastes it, she carefully describes every flavor and feeling. Quietly, Chan Neo writes every one of her opinions into his notebook. Meanwhile, Yang and Mu are wandering the streets while completely drunk. Yang keeps confessing his feelings. Eventually, Mu finally accepts his confession. Back at home, Sihan notices the dried rose she once used to confess to Chan Neo. At the same time, Chan Neo is giving Rui a bath. Instead of getting angry when Rui splashes water everywhere, he starts playing with him. Rui then calls for his aunt, complaining that his godfather is bullying him. Hearing that, Sihan walks into the bathroom and scolds both of them. She tells Chan Neo to take a proper shower and clean the bathroom afterward. Rui quickly says his godfather doesn't even know how. Sihan confidently replies, "That's fine, I'll teach him." Chan Neo smiles and says, "All right, then teach me." As he starts taking off his shirt, Sihan suddenly becomes flustered. She quickly explains that she meant teaching him how to clean the bathroom. Completely embarrassed, she runs out. That night, Sihan accidentally falls asleep while working. When Chan Neo notices, he quietly covers her with a blanket. Then he gently picks up the dried rose and leaves. The following morning, Sihan prepares a house agreement. No one can enter her room without permission. She'll pay all of her own expenses, and everyone must stay fully dressed at all times. Chan Neo agrees to every rule. However, he adds one condition. Whenever Si-han leaves the house, she must tell him first. She agrees. Then the three of them officially seal the agreement with their fingerprints. Later, Yang is still overjoyed after Moo accepted his confession. However, Moo suddenly tells him she was drunk and didn't mean it. She asks him not to take it seriously. Poor Yang is heartbroken once again. Meanwhile, Si-han is trying to cook breakfast. Watching her struggle, both Chan Neo and Rui can't stop laughing. Later, after returning to the bakery, Chan Neo secretly spends the day watching the security cameras to check on Si-han and Rui. When an employee notices, Chan Neo quickly changes the subject and asks about the newly opened bakery. The employee explains that the rival bakery is opening today. Meanwhile, Moo visits Chan Neo's house. She teasingly asks whether Si-han likes her younger brother. Si-han immediately denies it. Moo then asks Rui whether he'd like Chan Neo and Si-han to get married. Without hesitation, Rui happily replies, "Yes, Aunt, just marry my godfather already." Just then, Chan Neo calls Si-han and asks her to bring the notebook he accidentally left at home. Moo tells her she'll stay with Rui. While on her way, the notebook slips from her hands. Out of curiosity, she opens it and notices several cake recipes inside. After arriving at the bakery, she returns it and leaves. When Chan Neo checks the notebook later, he immediately realizes someone opened it. Later that day, Si-han and Rui are happily playing with soap bubbles outside. Chan Neo returns home and sees the two of them laughing together. The beautiful scene instantly lifts his mood. He picks Rui up and the mischievous Rui suddenly pulls Si-han closer. For a few seconds, Chan Neo and Si-han quietly stare into each other's eyes. In the next scene, Chan Neo creates a brand new cake called Childhood. However, Bai informs him that the rival bakery, Sweet Dessert, has released an identical cake. Since Si-han had opened Chan Neo's notebook earlier, Bai immediately becomes suspicious of her. Si-han honestly admits she looked inside the notebook but firmly insists she never leaked any recipe. She looks directly at Chan Neo and asks, "Do you trust me?" Chan Neo remains silent. His silence hurts Si-han deeply. Angrily, she walks out saying, "If you don't trust me, then why did you even ask me to bring your notebook?" Meanwhile, Rui tells Chan Neo that he should apologize. Chan Neo asks whether apologizing would really make her happy. Rui confidently replies that whenever his mother became upset, his father always apologized first, and she forgave him every time. Just then, it starts raining. Rui tells Chan Neo to use the rain as an excuse to go after Si-han. Chan Neo follows Rui's advice and runs after her. When he catches up, he apologizes on Bai's behalf and sincerely tells her that he trusts her. However, Si-han says she'll prove her innocence herself. Then she firmly declares that she won't stay at his house anymore before walking away. Then we see another flashback. Chan Neo remembers the painful day when his mother abandoned him. Back in the present, he tells Rui that Yang will look after him while Si-han is away on a business trip. He jokes that Yang has a few loose screws. Just then, Yang arrives. Rui confidently replies, "Don't worry, Godfather, I'll take good care of Uncle." Meanwhile, Si-han catches a cold after getting soaked in the rain. On the other hand, Yang brings Rui to the bakery. Rui sadly tells Chan Neo, "Godfather, you lied to me. Aunt didn't go on a business trip, she left us." Chan Neo immediately explains that Si-han didn't abandon them. She's simply very busy. Later, Chan Neo takes Rui home. Since Rui is hungry, Chan Neo tries to cook. Although he's an excellent baker, he knows almost nothing about cooking. Rui calls Si-han, but she doesn't answer. In the end, they simply eat fast food together. A little later, Moo arrives. She says Si-han hasn't answered any of her calls and admits she doesn't even know her address. Rui immediately says he knows where his aunt lives. Chan Neo decides to check on her because Rui is worried. Seeing this, Moo realizes her younger brother is just as concerned. In the next scene, Chan Neo arrives at Si-han's apartment. Because of her high fever, she thinks she's dreaming. She looks at Chan Neo and says, "You should always be this nice in real life, otherwise nobody will marry you." Then she casually adds, "We've already kissed before. Besides, this is only my dream, so I can touch you if I want." As she gently touches his face, she suddenly realizes this isn't a dream. Embarrassed, she immediately pulls her hand back. Chan Neo smiles and teasingly asks, "So, you dream about me quite often?" Flustered, Si-han asks why he's there. Chan Neo replies that if he hadn't come, she might have collapsed all alone. He also tells her that Rui misses her very much. Even then, Si-han refuses to return. Before leaving, Chan Neo quietly cleans her apartment. He notices all of her medicine has expired and leaves her a note telling her not to take it. Then we are introduced to the rival bakery, Sweet Dessert. Its owner is Lee Min, Si-han's former college class president. The young woman working with him is his younger sister, Xianglan. Meanwhile, Yang is still embarrassed after what happened with Mu. Later, Sihan continues trying to prove her innocence. Meanwhile, Bai again accuses Sihan of helping sweet dessert. However, Chan Neo refuses to believe the accusation. On the other hand, Sihan meets Li Min and asks about the girl who confessed to him in college. Li Min explains that although they studied abroad together, she was never his girlfriend because he wanted to focus on his career. But now things have changed. It's obvious that Li Min has started developing feelings for Sihan. Just as he's about to confess, Sihan unintentionally changes the topic. Later, Chan Neo arrives. Not wanting another misunderstanding, Sihan immediately tells him not to say anything unnecessary. Chan Neo calmly says, "Let's go home. Rui is waiting for us." Then, loud enough for Li Min to hear, he adds, "Rui is our son." Both Li Min and Xianglan are completely shocked. Xianglan immediately asks, "Wait, are you two married?" Without changing his expression, Chan Neo simply replies, "Yes." After leaving, Sihan scolds Chan Neo for lying. Chan Neo remains silent. Annoyed, Sihan turns to leave. However, Chan Neo quietly grabs her bag and refuses to let go. For a moment, Sihan hopes he's finally going to apologize. Instead, he simply says, "Rui misses you, please come back home." After that, they return to the bakery. The moment Rui sees Sihan, he happily runs over and hugs her. He repeatedly begs her to return so they can all live together again. Sihan gently tells him that she still has something important to finish, but once she's done, she'll definitely come back. Then she leaves again. Rui immediately pushes Chan Neo forward and tells him to apologize properly. But once again, Chan Neo can't bring himself to say the words, "I'm sorry." Instead, he simply tells Sihan, "Take care of yourself." Back at home, Chan Neo searches online for advice on how to make his girlfriend happy. One suggestion tells him to take her out for dinner and even pretend to get sick so she'll take care of him. After reading it, he shakes his head and says, "Only someone as crazy as Yang would actually follow advice like this." Then he logs into another account and anonymously comments on Sihan's page. He writes, "I hurt someone I care about, but I can't bring myself to apologize. What should I do?" Without realizing who's asking, Sihan replies, "Follow your heart and do whatever makes that person happy. If your feelings are sincere, they'll eventually forgive you." Inspired by her advice, Chan Neo invites Sihan and Rui to the bakery. The three of them happily bake a cake together. After finishing it, Chan Neo writes on the cake, "Please come back home." Rui also pleads, "Aunt, please come back. I miss you so much." Finally, Chan Neo quietly adds, "Please come back. I can't take care of Rui all by myself." After hearing both of them sincerely asking her, Sihan finally agrees. Later, Rui and Sihan start arguing over the cake. Watching their childish fight, Chan Neo gently pats Sihan on the head. Realizing what he just did, he quickly moves his hand onto Rui's head instead. Afterward, the three of them take a family photo together. Soon, Sihan officially returns to Chan Neo's house. That night, she tells Rui a bedtime story until he falls asleep. Later, she notices Chan Neo's room light is still on and turns it off. Immediately, Chan Neo is reminded of his parents constantly fighting during his childhood. He quickly switches the light back on. Seeing something is wrong, Sihan asks whether he's okay. Chan Neo quietly explains that he always sleeps with the lights on. She gently offers to help, but Chan Neo simply asks her to leave. The next morning, Sihan and Rui get ready to go out. When Chan Neo asks where they're going, Rui excitedly answers, "Sweet dessert!" Sihan explains that Li Min wants to meet Rui and asks Chan Neo to give them a ride. Still feeling jealous, Chan Neo coldly refuses. After they leave, he mutters, "What's so special about him? He's just a class president." Meanwhile, Xianglan arrives at Chan Neo's bakery and patiently waits for him. When Chan Neo finally arrives, she asks, "Is the woman who came with you yesterday really your wife?" Chan Neo simply looks at her without answering. Already in a bad mood because of Li Min, Chan Neo becomes even more annoyed when Xianglan keeps trying to get close to him, so he tells Jian to deal with her before walking into the kitchen. Meanwhile, Li Min takes Sihan and Rui to a nearby park. He lets Sihan taste his newest cake. After tasting it, she immediately notices the difference between Li Min's cake and Chan Neo's. Li Min then asks whether she and Chan Neo are dating. Sihan quickly denies it. She explains that Rui is her nephew and she's only staying with Chan Neo to help take care of him. Hearing that, Li Min secretly feels relieved because he realizes he still has a chance. Back at the bakery, Chan Neo vents his frustration by aggressively squeezing lemons. His employees are completely confused because he's never used lemons like this before. At the same time, Bai becomes suspicious after learning Xianglan is Li Min's younger sister. He assumes she's trying to steal their recipes and tells Jian to keep a close eye on her. A little later, Xianglan asks Jian what Chan Neo likes. Jian replies that Chan Neo only loves creating new cakes and competing against sweet dessert. She shyly asks Jian to introduce them. However, Jian immediately refuses because she's from their rival bakery. Meanwhile, Rui accidentally falls while playing and gets injured. Seeing this, Sihan immediately calls Chan Neo. The moment he sees her name, he smiles and quietly says, "So, you finally remembered me." He pretends to be busy until Sihan hurriedly tells him that Rui is in the hospital. The moment he hears that, Chan Neo rushes there without wasting another second. The doctor reassures him that Rui is perfectly fine. Then he casually says that he has already explained everything to Rui's parents. Hearing those words, Chan Neo's expression suddenly changes. Without saying anything, he quietly picks Rui up and leaves. Outside, he asks Rui to sit in the back seat while Sihan sits beside him. Just to make Li Min jealous, Chan Neo personally fastens Sihan's seatbelt. Meanwhile, Mu meets her former boyfriend, Mr. San. He asks her to start dating him again. However, Mu politely refuses, saying she'd do anything for Chan Neo's happiness. On the other hand, Chan Neo asks Sihan why she's acting strangely today. She immediately replies that he's the one acting weird. Before they can continue arguing, Rui interrupts them. Later that night, Chan Neo and Yang are drinking together. Yang tells him that he's finally realized Chan Neo is in love with Sihan. He also warns him that Li Min has returned, so if he keeps hesitating, it'll be too late. Then Yang jokingly asks, "You've been living together for so long. Don't tell me nothing has happened." After thinking for a moment, Chan Neo honestly replies, "Actually, something did happen. We kissed a year ago." Yang bursts into laughter. He tells Chan Neo that while he's still talking about an old kiss, Li Min is already getting closer to Sihan. Unable to tolerate the teasing anymore, Chan Neo gets up and leaves. When he gets home, he finds Sihan quietly watching cartoons. He notices one of the buttons on her shirt has come undone. Without saying anything, he gently buttons it for her. Sihan's heart immediately starts racing. Then, before either of them realizes it, Chan Neo suddenly kisses her. This time, Sihan doesn't push him away. Instead, she quietly enjoys the moment. Only after Rui suddenly calls out does she come back to her senses. Flustered, she quickly pushes Chan Neo away and runs off in embarrassment. Watching her leave, Chan Neo smiles and quietly says, "This kiss, you'll never forget it." Meanwhile, Mu sends Yang a message saying, "I miss you." However, Yang has already fallen asleep after drinking too much. After waiting for a long time without receiving a reply, Mu quietly deletes the message. The next morning, both Chan Neo and Sihan keep remembering their kiss. Both become so embarrassed that they can barely look at each other. Meanwhile, Yang wakes up and notices that Mu deleted her message. He immediately calls her, but she doesn't answer. After learning she went out with her ex-boyfriend, Mr. San, Yang quickly rushes over. At the same time, Chan Neo's bakery is facing a serious problem. The once crowded shop is now almost empty. While investigating, Chan Neo asks Bai whether he ever opened the recipe notebook. Bai honestly admits that he did. Then, he suddenly remembers baking that same cake for his girlfriend. After proudly telling her it was his boss's recipe, she secretly wrote down every ingredient. Only now does Bai realize his own girlfriend may have leaked the recipe. Meanwhile, Mr. San once again tries convincing Mu to give him another chance, but Mu still refuses. When he keeps pressuring her, Yang suddenly arrives and punches him. Mu quickly stops the fight and firmly tells Mr. San that she can take care of her younger brother herself. Afterward, Mu leaves together with Yang. When they arrive home, Yang sincerely apologizes. Instead of saying anything, Mu suddenly kisses him. After that, Mu and Yang's romance is finally about to begin. At that very moment, Chan Neo suddenly arrives. Seeing him, Mu jokingly asks, "What are you doing here?" Chan Neo casually replies, "Why? Should I leave?" Mu quickly tells him to stay, while poor Yang silently walks away, frustrated that his moment was interrupted. Later, when Chan Neo returns home, Sihan starts avoiding him. He assumes she's still angry because he kissed her without asking. Meanwhile, Sihan sends another message to the anonymous account Chan Neo has been using. She asks, "If a guy kisses someone while he's drunk, what does that mean?" Without thinking, Chan Neo replies, "It probably means he likes you." Sihan quickly responds, "That can't be true. He has never even smiled at me." Reading her reply, Chan-neo quietly wonders, "Is that true? Have I really never smiled at her?" Moment on, he decides to change. He begins practicing different smiles in front of the mirror. Then he starts smiling awkwardly every time he sees Si-han. His strange expressions leave both Si-han and Rui completely confused. Rui finally says, "Godfather, please don't smile anymore. You're scaring us. You should learn from Uncle Lee Min." Feeling completely defeated, Chan-neo silently walks away. A little later, Si-han messages the anonymous account again. She writes, "Today he kept smiling at me for no reason. I really don't understand what's going on." The notification immediately appears on Chan-neo's phone. When Si-han accidentally sees it, she's completely shocked. She instantly realizes Chan-neo is the owner of the anonymous account. At that moment, everything finally makes sense. She understands that Chan-neo has been trying to impress her all along. Instead of feeling uncomfortable, she becomes shy and secretly happy because she now knows Chan-neo truly likes her. Meanwhile, Moo calls Yang and asks him to meet her that evening. Yang happily agrees. However, while he's at a photo shoot, another woman reminds him that he has an important meeting with the director. Hearing this, Moo quietly tells him not to come anymore. Yang can only watch helplessly. Back at the bakery, Bai hands Chan-neo his resignation letter. However, Chan-neo immediately refuses to accept it. He reminds Bai that they built Seoul Dessert together from the beginning and sincerely asks him to stay until the very end. Hearing those heartfelt words, Bai changes his mind. Later, back at home, Chan-neo quietly helps Si-han organize her clothes. As they both reach for the same clothes, Si-han accidentally falls right on top of him. At that exact moment, Moo and Yang arrive outside the room. After hearing strange noises from inside, they completely misunderstand the situation. Just then, Rui also walks out of his room. Realizing what Rui might see, Moo and Yang immediately cover his eyes before entering. Seeing the awkward position Chan-neo and Si-han are in, both of them smile knowingly. Moo jokingly says, "We didn't see anything, just continue what you were doing." She even tells them to keep it a little quieter next time. After they leave, Si-han becomes so embarrassed that she immediately runs away. Meanwhile, Chan-neo quietly changes the password to his house. The next day, Chan-neo releases another brand new cake. The cake becomes an instant hit, and Seoul Dessert is once again packed with customers. That evening, Chan-neo comes home and sees Si-han sleeping at her desk after working too hard. He gently covers her with a blanket. Then he accidentally notices she's writing an article about sweet dessert. Seeing this makes him unexpectedly jealous. Just then, Si-han wakes up. Chan-neo quietly says, "I made a new cake today. I wanted you to write about it, but it looks like you're already busy." Without waiting for her reply, he walks away. The next day, Si-han visits Seoul Dessert to taste the new cake. Bai sincerely apologizes for wrongly suspecting her before. Si-han smiles and says she has already forgiven him because he only wanted to protect Seoul Dessert. A little later, Chan-neo walks over. Si-han excitedly asks about the story behind the cake because she needs to write another article. Still feeling jealous, Chan-neo asks, "What happened? Was writing about sweet dessert not enough for you?" Si-han immediately replies, "To me, Seoul Dessert is much more important. My followers also want more articles about Seoul Dessert. And besides, we're family now." Not far away, the employees overhear everything. When one of them asks Rui what's going on, Rui proudly replies, "Didn't you hear? Aunt just said they're family." After learning the story behind the cake, Si-han finishes her article. Then she tells Chan-neo she's meeting some old college friends. The moment Chan-neo hears college friends, he immediately realizes Lee Min will probably be there, so he seriously warns her not to drink. Deep down, he's afraid she'll accidentally confess to Lee Min just like she confessed to him a year ago. Meanwhile, today is Moo's birthday. Yang surprises her by taking her out for lunch. Instead of a nearby restaurant, he drives her far away. Moo becomes so tired that she falls asleep during the trip. Back at Seoul Dessert, Xianglan suddenly arrives. The moment she sees Chan-neo, she blurts out, "Will you be my boyfriend?" Chan-neo is completely stunned. Without saying a word, he simply turns around and walks away. Jian happens to witness everything. Embarrassed, Xianglan asks whether he overheard her confession. Jian nods and promises not to tell anyone. Meanwhile, Si-han is having a reunion with her college friends. They all encourage her to drink. At first, she refuses because Chan-neo told her not to. However, her friends keep insisting. Eventually, Si-han thinks, "Why should I listen to Chan-neo? He still hasn't even confessed." With that, she finally starts drinking. Back at home, Chan-neo puts Rui to bed and quietly waits for Si-han to return. Meanwhile, Si-han keeps checking her phone, secretly hoping Chan Neo will call. But when no message comes, she becomes disappointed and drinks even more. Eventually, only Lee Min and Si-han remain. Lee Min finally gathers his courage and asks, "Do you still like me?" Completely drunk, Si-han immediately replies, "Yes, I like you very much." Lee Min's face lights up. But a second later, Si-han suddenly says Chan Neo's name instead. At that moment, Lee Min finally realizes the person she truly loves is Chan Neo. Just then, Chan Neo calls. Lee Min answers and tells him Si-han is drunk before sending him the address. Meanwhile, Yang and Moo are together. Moo asks why he brought her so far away. Yang smiles and says he simply wanted to spend time alone with her because she's always busy. When the clock strikes midnight, he surprises her with a birthday cake. Then he nervously asks, "Will you be my girlfriend?" This time, Moo finally agrees. Overjoyed, the two of them share a sweet kiss. Meanwhile, Chan Neo arrives and carries the drunken Si-han home on his back. Mistaking him for Lee Min, Si-han happily says, "Do you know? Chan Neo likes me." Chan Neo pretends to be surprised and asks, "How do you know?" Si-han replies, "He always texts me through an online account called Grandmaster. He told me everything there." Chan Neo then asks, "So, do you like Chan Neo too?" But before she can answer, she falls asleep. The next morning, Si-han remembers nothing. Meanwhile, Chan Neo sends her another message through the Grandmaster account, praising her latest article. After reading it, Si-han proudly thinks, "Chan Neo still has no idea I've already figured everything out." Just then, Chan Neo suddenly appears behind her and says, "Yeah, we think so too." The moment she sees him, she becomes so embarrassed that she immediately runs away. Later, the three of them go shopping together. While Chan Neo and Rui are waiting, a young woman asks Chan Neo for his phone number. Before he can answer, Rui tells her his wife and child are here. Hearing that, the girl immediately gives up. A little later, Si-han receives a message from her sister, saying she and her husband have decided not to divorce. That means Rui will soon return home. Reading the message makes Si-han sad because she'll have to move out of Chan Neo's house too. Meanwhile, Yang excitedly tells Moo he's going to tell Chan Neo they're dating. Moo immediately stops him and warns that she'll break up with him if he does. Poor Yang instantly stays quiet. Then we see Seoul Dessert once again. Thanks to Chan Neo's new cake, the bakery is thriving again. To celebrate, Chan Neo unexpectedly gives everyone the next day off. His employees are completely shocked and immediately start gossiping that their boss must be planning to go on a date with Si-han. Meanwhile, Xianglan is secretly taking pictures of Chan Neo. While trying to get the perfect shot, she almost falls, but Jian quickly catches her. For a moment, Xianglan stares at him and says, "Why did I never notice such a handsome guy before?" On the other hand, Chan Neo is teaching Si-han how to make cakes. Outside, Sun Nian jokes that everyone has found their soulmate except him and Ji. Ji asks, "So, who has Jian fallen for?" Sun Nian points towards Xianglan. At that moment, Jian tells Xianglan, "You should stop coming here. Our boss has already fallen in love with Si-han." Xianglan smiles and replies, "You're right. I used to come because of him. But now, I like you instead." Jian is completely stunned. Without waiting for permission, Xianglan grabs his phone and saves her number as girlfriend. Jian immediately protests, "When did I ever agree to this?" Later, Yang shows Moo a checklist of things every couple should do together. After arriving at Moo's house, Yang is about to hang it on the wall, but Moo quickly stops him. He says Chan Neo could come home any minute. Yang smiles warmly and says, "This is the first time I've ever seen you this happy. I hope you keep smiling forever." After saying that, he gently kisses Moo. Just then, Chan Neo suddenly walks in. Seeing Yang there, he asks, "What are you doing here?" Moo quickly replies, "We were just discussing business." Then Moo hands Chan Neo some scented candles and tells him to use them while watching a movie with Si-han. Back at home, Chan Neo lights the candles and invites Si-han to watch TV. They choose a horror movie. The scary scenes frighten Si-han so much that she instinctively hugs Chan Neo. Then, during a romantic scene, Chan Neo imagines a romantic moment between them. However, it's only his imagination. In reality, he awkwardly switches the TV to an animal documentary. The next morning, Rui tells Chan Neo, "Godfather, I'll be leaving in a few days. If you don't confess soon, Uncle Lee Min might do it first. I think I need to help." Then Rui secretly tells Si-han that Chan Neo wants to take her on a date. Hearing that, Si-han becomes extremely happy. Afterward, Rui tells Chan Neo that Si-han also wants to go on a date with him. He then goes to stay with Aunt Moo as planned. It turns out this entire date was secretly arranged by Moo and Rui together. When Yang arrives and hears Chan Neo actually went on a date, he's completely shocked. Moo laughs and explains that the whole plan was Rui's idea. Yang jokingly says they should have a smart child like Rui someday. Rui immediately asks, "So, are you two dating?" Embarrassed, Mu quickly tells Yang to leave before Rui asks anything else. Meanwhile, Chan Neo brings Sihan to an archery range. Since she's never played before, he stands behind her and gently teaches her how to hold the bow. The whole moment feels surprisingly romantic. After that, Chan Neo takes her to a boxing gym. This time, Sihan becomes annoyed. She thinks, "Is this a date or does he want to fight me?" Eventually, she walks away. Watching her leave, Chan Neo quietly wonders, "Am I really that boring?" Later, he takes her to the beach. Standing by the sea, Chan Neo sings a romantic song just for her. This time, Sihan genuinely enjoys the date. That evening, they have dinner together. Chan Neo finally gathers the courage to confess. But just as he's about to speak, the electricity suddenly goes out. The blackout makes him lose all his confidence again. Meanwhile, Yang is busy with a photo shoot. A female model keeps getting unusually close to him. After the shoot, she pretends something is in her eye and asks Yang to help. As soon as he gets close, she suddenly tries to kiss him. Yang immediately steps back. At that exact moment, Mu arrives and secretly records everything. The woman then blackmails Yang, threatening to upload the video if he refuses to date her. Just then, Mu steps forward. He tells her that if she doesn't delete the video, he'll upload the one he just recorded instead. Hearing that, the woman immediately panics and deletes her recording. Later, Rui asks Chan Neo, "Godfather, how was your date?" Chan Neo simply replies, "No." Rui sighs and says, "Looks like I still have more work to do." Then Rui suggests that all three of them should go out together the next day. Sihan happily agrees. That evening, Chan Neo and Sihan help Rui pack his luggage. Both of them look noticeably sad. Rui smiles and says, "Don't be sad. Next time I come back, I hope I'll meet my little brother or little sister." Hearing his innocent words, Sihan bursts into laughter. Later, Rui finally returns home. After he leaves, both Chan Neo and Sihan feel much lonelier. Sihan quietly says, "Now that Rui is gone, I'll probably move out of your house soon too." Hearing that, Chan Neo assumes Sihan never had any feelings for him and was only staying because of Rui. So he calmly replies, "Whenever you decide to leave, just let me know. I'll help you pack." On the other hand, Sihan misunderstands Chanyu's response and thinks Chanyu doesn't have any feelings for him either. He believes Chanyu doesn't even want him to stay in the house anymore. Then we see another scene at Seoul Dessert. Xianglan learns that Jiang has taken the day off. She gets his address from Sun Nian and immediately goes to find him. When she arrives, she sees two men brutally beating Jiang. At first, she secretly records everything on her phone. Then she bravely steps forward and shouts, "If you don't let him go right now, I'll hand this video over to the police." The two men become frightened and quickly leave. Afterward, Xianglan asks Jiang, "Why were those men beating you?" Jiang quietly answers, "I borrowed some money from them, but I can't repay it right now." Xianglan immediately says, "How much do you owe? I'll pay it back for you." Jiang simply replies, "Why do you even care?" before walking away. However, Xianglan has injured her foot during the incident and sits down in pain. She complains, "You're so heartless. I helped you, but you don't even care about me. I'll tell my brother to buy Seoul Dessert, and then I'll make you work 20 hours a day." Realizing his mistake, Jiang returns and sincerely apologizes. As they're leaving, Xianglan smiles and says, "Please, won't you be my boyfriend?" Jiang immediately refuses. Xianglan grins and says, "Fine, then I'll just become your girlfriend instead." Later, Chanyu visits one of his former teachers. Several other young men are also there, each struggling with different emotional and psychological problems. Meanwhile, Sihan returns home but can't find Chanyu anywhere. Worried, he immediately texts Mu, saying that Chanyu has gone missing. The moment Mu reads the message, he panics and rushes out of the office. Soon, Sihan, Mu, and Yang gather together. Mu finally reveals the truth. He says, Chanyu hasn't confessed his feelings because he suffers from depression and panic disorder. He believes that staying with him would only ruin your life. That's why he's been keeping everything to himself. But please don't leave him. Yang then pulls Mu aside and quietly says, I know you're worried about Chanyu, but you shouldn't pressure Sihan. He deserves to make his own decision. Meanwhile, Chanyu talks to his teacher about everything that's been weighing on his heart. He asks whether he should finally confess his feelings to Sihan or simply disappear from his life forever. After listening carefully, the teacher shares a story from his own past. He says, there was a time when I was at the very top of the business world, but my best friend betrayed me, and that betrayal pushed me into deep depression. Back then, I also had a girlfriend. Thinking about his past, the teacher continues, I decided to leave her because I thought I was only making her life harder. But later, I found out that she wasn't happy without me either. She told me, this is my life. Whether I stay with you or not should be my decision, not yours. The teacher sighs before continuing. By the time I realized my mistake, it was already too late. Before I could meet her again, she had gotten married and even had a baby. He then looks at Chan-yu and says, "So if Si-han has feelings for you, you should confess instead of running away from him." Hearing those words, Chan-yu finally understands what his teacher is trying to tell him. Without wasting another second, he decides to confess to Si-han immediately. On the other hand, after getting the teacher's address from Moo, Si-han also heads there to find Chan-yu. Chan-yu rushes back home first, but when he doesn't find Si-han there, he quickly calls him. Si-han tells him where he is. Chan-yu immediately says, "I'm already home. Stay right there, I'm coming to you." In the next scene, the two finally meet. Chan-yu is extremely nervous, but after gathering all his courage, he finally says, "I like you." Before he can say anything else, Si-han happily kisses him. At the same time, Jiang, Ji, and Sun Yan are busy handing out promotional flyers for sold dessert. Meanwhile, Jianglan refuses to leave Jiang's side for even a second. Watching them together, Sun Yan sighs and says, "I wonder when we'll finally find a caring girlfriend like that." Jianglan complains to Jiang, "I've been following you around in this hot weather, holding an umbrella over you, and you haven't even smiled at me once." Sun Yan jokingly says, "I can't watch this anymore. I'm calling the boss right now to tell him Jiang isn't working." However, just then, everyone notices Chan-yu and Si-han walking toward them while holding hands. Seeing both couples together leaves Sun Yan completely speechless. Everyone starts whispering, "Our boss used to run away whenever he saw someone he liked, but now look at him. He can't even let go of Si-han's hand." Later, we are introduced to Si-han's parents. His mother has been worried because Si-han hasn't been calling them very often lately. The next morning, Si-han is awakened by his mother's phone call. She happily tells him that she and his father will be arriving in the city very soon. The moment he hears that, Si-han panics. He still hasn't told his parents that he quit his regular job and has become a food blogger instead. He's also worried that if they find out about his relationship with Chan-yu, they'll become furious. Chan-yu calmly reassures him. He says, "We'll tell your parents about our relationship, and when you find the right opportunity, you can also explain that you're working as a food blogger." Soon, Si-han's parents arrive at Chan-yu's house. Chan-yu politely introduces himself by saying, "I'm Rue's father's best friend." Before anyone else can speak, Si-han suddenly adds, "And he's also my boyfriend." Everyone is left completely shocked. His parents then glance toward the bedrooms, obviously misunderstanding the situation. Chan-yu quickly explains, "Please don't misunderstand, we don't actually share the same room." Later, Si-han's father privately asks him how his job is going. Trying to hide the truth, Si-han confidently says, "Everything's great. My boss is Chan-yu's sister, so I don't have any problems." His father is about to ask more questions when Chan-yu walks over and reminds Si-han that it's time for work. On the way out, Chan-yu quietly asks, "Why haven't you told your parents the truth about your job yet?" Si-han replies, "If I tell them now, they'll immediately take me back home." Meanwhile, while looking around the house, Si-han's mother discovers a bottle of antidepressant medication. She initially assumes the medicine belongs to Si-han, but after noticing Chan-yu's name on the label, both she and her husband are left surprised. At the same time, Si-han visits Moo's office. He is so distracted by everything that's happening that he doesn't even notice how close Moo and Young are standing together. Seeing his gloomy expression, Moo asks, "What happened?" Si-han explains that his parents are currently staying at Chan-yu's house, so he has to pretend to be busy with work instead of going home. After hearing everything, Moo smiles and says, "That's actually perfect. I've been wanting to talk to your parents about Chan-yu for a long time. I'll go to the house today and make sure to praise you in front of them too, so they won't scold you about your job." Meanwhile, Xianglan quietly pays off the money Jiang owes to the men who attacked him. She warns them, "If you ever bother my boyfriend again, I won't let you get away with it." However, Jiang has secretly witnessed everything from a distance. After the men leave, he walks over and asks, "Who told you to repay my debt?" Xianglan pouts and says, "If it had been any other guy, he'd be overjoyed. But instead, you're scolding me." Jiang replies, "I'll return your money in a few days. After that, don't ever come looking for me again." His cold words make Xianglan angry. She immediately says, "Fine, I don't want to see you either." Later that evening, after dinner, Si-han's mother quietly asks Moo, "Does Chan-yu suffer from depression?" Hearing the question, Moo becomes nervous. He honestly replies, "Yes. Chan-yu has depression, but he's gradually getting better. I promise he'll never hurt Si-han." Meanwhile, Yang and Moo spend some time together. Yang gently slips a ring onto Moo's finger and says, "I don't want to keep our relationship a secret anymore. I want everyone to know we're dating." However, Moo immediately refuses. He explains, "When I was dating Mr. Shen, I couldn't spend enough time with Chan Yu. That's one of the reasons he ended up like this today." Hearing that, Yang becomes upset. He feels that Moo is always thinking about Chan Yu and never once considers how much he loves him. Before long, the two begin arguing. The argument becomes so serious that they decide to break up. After Moo leaves, Yang drinks heavily. Completely drunk, he calls Chan Yu and asks him to meet him at the boxing club. The moment Chan Yu arrives, Yang starts punching him. He angrily shouts, "Our breakup happened because of you. I love Moo with all my heart, and Moo loves me too. But because of you, he can't express his feelings properly." Listening to Yang's words, Chan Yu finally realizes just how deeply Moo cares about him. He also starts blaming himself for becoming a burden to the people around him. Afterward, Chan Yu goes to meet Moo. Moo is drinking alone. Chan Yu sincerely tells him, "Please don't sacrifice your own happiness because of me anymore. Yang is crazy about you. You should accept him as your boyfriend." The next day, Yang wakes up completely confused, unable to remember how he got home. Just then, he receives a text from Chan Yu saying, "So, can I finally call you my brother-in-law now?" Chan Yu also uploads several photos of Yang and Moo together online. The moment Yang sees them, he can't contain his excitement. Then, he suddenly remembers everything that happened the previous night. Without wasting any time, he rushes to Seoul Dessert to apologize to Chan Yu. As soon as everyone hears the good news that Yang and Moo are back together, they happily sing a congratulatory song for them. Yang becomes so embarrassed that his face turns red. Later, he pulls Chan Yu aside and sincerely says, "I'm sorry." Chan Yu smiles and replies, "A simple apology isn't enough. I want revenge." Yang immediately closes his eyes and says, "Fine, hit me as much as you want." But instead of hitting him hard, Chan Yu simply gives him a light punch on the shoulder, making both of them smile. Yang smiles at Chan Yu and says, "I promise you, I'll never let Moo be sad again." Later, we see Chan Yu and Si-han together. Si-han is still feeling nervous because he hasn't told his parents that he's no longer working a regular office job and is now a food blogger. Seeing how anxious he is, Chan Yu encourages him and gives him the confidence to tell the truth. Soon, they return home. This time, Si-han finally tells his parents that he doesn't have a regular job anymore and has chosen to become a food blogger instead. To his surprise, neither his mother nor his father scolds him. As long as their son is happy doing what he loves, they're happy too. Then we see a flashback revealing that Chan Yu had secretly explained everything to Si-han's father beforehand, helping him understand the situation. Back in the present, after learning this, Si-han feels incredibly touched and happy. Meanwhile, Jiang is returning home after finishing his part-time job when he runs into Xianglan. The moment he sees her, he says, "I thought you said you weren't going to see me again. Then why are you here?" Xianglan replies, "You don't have to pay me back anymore. Please stop working so hard." However, Jiang still insists on returning every penny. His stubbornness makes Xianglan angry again. Since it's a very hot day, Jiang quietly places his coat over her head to protect her from the sun. Seeing this small act of kindness, Xianglan smiles and says, "You're actually really sweet." Later, Chan Yu is sitting alone when Si-han walks over with a red rose. He hands it to Chan Yu and says, "This one is really for you. The last flower wasn't supposed to be yours. I accidentally gave it to you. But this one, I bought especially for you." Chan Yu immediately becomes jealous. He says, "When you were planning to confess to Li Min, you even wrote a love letter. But for me, you're only giving me a rose. Where's my love letter?" Si-han laughs and replies, "All right, I'll write one later." But Chan Yu isn't satisfied. He immediately hands Si-han a notebook and a pen and says, "No, write it now." Si-han writes several different love letters, but Chan Yu rejects every single one of them. Finally, Chan Yu pouts and says, "You don't really love me. The letter you wrote for Li Min was so heartfelt, but now you can't even write one properly for me." Only then does Si-han realize what's happening. He smiles and says, "So, you're jealous." Chan Yu quickly denies it, but Si-han knows exactly what's going on. Eventually, Chan Yu makes him keep rewriting the love letter until he's satisfied. Meanwhile, another man starts a live stream online. During the broadcast, he spreads horrible rumors about Chan Yu and even exposes his mental illness. After watching the live stream, many people rush to Seoul Dessert. They begin whispering cruel things, saying that Chan Yu was the reason his parents died and that he had always been a burden to them. Hearing those painful words causes Chan Yu to suffer another severe panic attack. Unable to bear it anymore, he runs away. Meanwhile, Si-han and Moo find out what happened and become extremely worried. Si-han immediately says, "I know where Chan Yu must be." He rushes to the place where he first met Chan Yu. Just as he expected, Chanyu is standing there alone. Afraid that Chanyu might try to end his life, Sihan desperately says, "Please don't do anything foolish, you have me now. You also have Moo and so many friends who care about you." Listening to Sihan's heartfelt words, Chanyu simply smiles. When Sihan realizes Chanyu is safe, he immediately hugs him tightly and bursts into tears. Later, they return home together. Moo is furious because this is already the second time Chanyu has scared everyone by making them think he might hurt himself. Chanyu sincerely apologizes and promises that he'll never do anything like that again. Meanwhile, Moo, Yang, and the man responsible for the live stream meet together. They discover that Mr. Shen had ordered the man to spread those rumors. The man explains that his daughter is hospitalized and he desperately needed money for her treatment. After hearing his story, they feel sympathy for him. Instead of punishing him, they even offer to help pay for his daughter's medical expenses. Later, Moo, Yang, and Chanyu go together to meet Mr. Shen. Moo enters first by himself. The moment he walks inside, he slaps Mr. Shen hard across the face. Instead of apologizing, Mr. Shen behaves inappropriately toward Moo once again. Seeing this, Chanyu immediately steps in and punches him. Moo coldly says, "The biggest mistake I ever made was loving you." After saying that, the three of them leave together. Later, the man who spread the rumors starts another live stream. This time, he sincerely apologizes to everyone for exposing Chanyu's private life and spreading false information. Meanwhile, even after learning about Chanyu's depression, Sihan's parents warmly accept him as part of their family. For the first time in a long time, Chanyu feels what it's like to truly have a family again, making him happier than ever. Later, Moo suddenly starts feeling unwell. Seeing this, Yang immediately wonders if Moo might be pregnant. Moo tells him not to jump to conclusions. However, Yang's guess turns out to be correct. Moo really is pregnant. Yang is overjoyed. Moo, on the other hand, still feels uncertain. Yang transfers all of his property into Moo's name and sincerely asks him to marry him. He promises, "I'll take good care of both you and our baby." After hearing Yang's heartfelt promise again and again, Moo finally agrees to marry him. Meanwhile, Xianglan tells Jiang, "You said you never wanted to see me again. Well, your wish has finally come true. I'm leaving tomorrow, so you won't see me anymore." Jiang immediately asks, "When will you come back?" Xianglan replies, "Next Christmas." Jiang says, "By then, I'll have paid back all your money." After a brief pause, he nervously adds, "When you come back, will you be my girlfriend?" Xianglan freezes in complete shock. She can't believe what she just heard. To make sure she heard correctly, she asks him again. Blushing, Jiang repeats, "Will you be my girlfriend?" Xianglan is overwhelmed with happiness. This is exactly what she has been waiting to hear for so long. She happily says, "Then for this entire year, you're not allowed to even look at another girl." Jiang smiles and replies, "Deal!" Finally, we see Chanyu and Sihan back at the place where they first met. After spending the night together, the next morning, Chanyu gets down on one knee and proposes to Sihan. Without any hesitation, Sihan happily accepts. Then the story jumps forward by 1 year. Sun Nian and Ji are still single. Sun Nian sighs and says, "A year ago I was single, and I'm still single now. Forget getting a girl's phone number, even one looking at me would be a miracle." Ji laughs and replies, "Who said nothing has changed? Now you and I are the managers of Sold Dessert." Soon, Jiang and Bai arrive as well. Since it's Christmas, Xianglan finally returns. The moment she sees Jiang, she happily says, "I missed you so much." Jiang smiles and replies, "I missed you too." Everyone else stares at them in confusion because they have no idea the two are already dating. Xianglan proudly announces, "What are you all looking at? I'm his girlfriend now, and he's my boyfriend." A little later, Chanyu and Sihan also arrive. The two of them are now happily married, and Chanyu spends almost all of his time with Sihan. Just then, Rui suddenly shows up. He says, "My mom and dad are fighting again. Aunt and uncle, can I stay with you for a while?" Everyone is delighted to see Rui again, especially Sihan. After all, Rui was the one who brought Chanyu and Sihan together in the first place. And with everyone finally finding happiness, this sweet and heartwarming drama comes to a perfect happy ending.